The July 18th Graphics Commission City of Columbus is now in session. Mr. Freeze, do we have anything preliminary?
The only thing of note is that case number 1 on the agenda, if anyone is here for that, on Hamilton Road, has been withdrawn and will not be heard tonight.
Great. So we can go ahead and call our first case. Application number PC 23-018-4881 Roberts Road. But before we do that, I think Mr. Tobias here is going to do his monthly duties.
Waiting for you.
Yeah.
If anybody anticipates testifying today, please raise your right hand.
We never.
Okay. Do you solemnly swear and or affirm that all the information you will provide today will be the truth? If you will say I do.
I did. Wonderful. Got that out of the way. So please come forward, applicant. Are they not here? Okay.
Pay attention.
And this is you, Jamie?
Yes.
Okay. Fire away.
Okay, 4881 Roberts Road is located at the southeast corner of Roberts Road and Walcott Road. Site is zoned CBD Commercial Plan Development District and is located within the far west side area commission. The request is to allow multiple banners, temporary signs, projecting signs, and identification signs for approach sheets. This is a standard application that you've seen several times before, so I'll skip the minutia and go right to the summary. First of all, the far west side area commission recommends approval of this request. Staff can recommend approval as the banner and temporary signs will be time limited. Staff can recommend approval of the permanent wall signs as the variances are negligible. I do want to note on the recommendation, this is a copy and paste from last month's sign where they had a pole sign. The proposed sign, which would go to the exhibits if they're not there, is a monument sign which planning and staff are recommending approval to. So we are recommending full approval. The only condition being that the automatic changeable copy portion of the sign will be limited to fuel pricing. Mr. Chair.
Great. Go ahead and present any additional testimony.
I have nothing additional to offer unless there's no specific questions from the board.
Can you just maybe explain for the record just what your hardship is, and clearly a lot of variances from the code here.
Yeah.
Maybe just explain the site and the reasons why you believe there's a hardship that would warrant granting the variances.
Yes, thank you. Because of the site layout, Sheets was forced to put the building in the far north west corner of the lot, kind of making the entrances and such internal to the site, as opposed to being facing the public street. And it's critical for identification standpoint for folks coming east and westbound on Roberts and north and southbound on Walcott to be able to clearly identify the Sheets store on both corners. Sign A6 and A3 reflect that as well. Likewise, the pricers and the logo on the south side are critical. One of the things we've seen in other locations is because of the additional types of fuel availability in these stores, we've had some stacking issues and some, not just on the extended side, but onto the public road. And we want to make sure that it's very clear very quickly for safety reasons that vehicles are able to identify exactly which of the 4 or 8 pumping stations they can move into to get their diesel related fuel, which is the reason for the sign E1 and E2 are increasing our allowed overall graphic for that elevation to request to the number that is now, which is what we need a variance. This is a typical layout from all of the sheet stores in this market. We're trying to fulfill the intent of the code, and we believe that as staff has also mentioned that the number of variances and the maps that we're requesting are minimal. We feel it's appropriate for the site and have support from, again, the area commissions and staff as well.
And are you agreeable to the conditions requested by the city staff?
Yes, we are.
Can you hold up that? I don't know if it's in the packet or not. It's hard to tell because it's not.
That color, yeah.
I don't. Maybe. Yeah, it is. Okay. Got it.
This might be the last page of that.
Yeah, no, it's in there. It's harder to see because it's not. Is there anyone present that would like to testify as to this case? Okay, based on the testimony, can I have a motion to adopt the finding of facts?
I'll make a motion to finding of facts.
That, that it supports of, go, restate it again, sorry.
Yeah, so, I mean, I don't think you were on the commission yet when I gave guidance to the other members of the board. Instead of reciting, all the facts and testimony that was presented, it would be sufficient to just say, to move for a finding of fact to adopt the testimony that was presented both by city staff and by the applicant, to the extent that it's consistent or that it supports the request.
Okay. Yeah, I'll make a motion to adopt the testimony by the city staff and the applicant. To the extent it's consistent with the request.
I'll second that.
Okay. Are we voting on, adopting the finding of facts?
Mr. Cavaliers,
Yes.
Mr. Hoyt,
Yes.
Mr. Rumball,
Yes.
Chair Cooperman.
Yes, and now can I have a motion to approve the application based on the finding of fact?
I'll make a motion to approve, application GC 23020 based on the finding of facts.
And a second.
I'll second that.
Okay, we can vote.
Mr. Hoyt,
Yes.
Before you vote,
Did I have that wrong?
I think the number was wrong. I don't think it's 018, not
Sorry,
020.
yeah, 018 Robert Street, yeah.
Just clarify that.
Motion to approve, application GC 23098. Correction.
And I'll second that motion.
Noted. Sorry about that. Good catch.
Mr. Hoyt,
Yes.
Mr. Rumball,
Yes.
Mr. Cavaliers,
Yes.
Chair Cooperman.
Yes, and the application's approved. Thanks.
Well, the one thing about the sheets is it is such as we've seen it evolve, it has such an unusual architectural, how it's built and the way they want to have their signs and all that. And every time they're gonna put a sheets in, we're gonna see the same thing. And they're wonderful when they're done. I mean, they do a pretty good job. I think the hardships that they started at the beginning. Okay. Just commentary.
Thank you.
Okay.
It can be on the record, doesn't matter. That's the record.
Next case is application number GC 23-019855 West Third Avenue. And Jamie, it's you again.
You again. Okay, 855 West Third Avenue. Oh, you actually, she's been sworn in.
You've been sworn in. You were sitting there.
855 West Third Avenue is located at the southwest corner of West Third Avenue and Yard Street. The site is zoned in manufacturing and is located within the 5th by Northwest Area Commission. Site is currently undeveloped. Surrounding uses include a grocery store and fuel station to the north, retail and medical center to the west, an eating and drinking establishment to the east, and multi-unit commercial to the south. The applicant proposes to construct a bank with signage on the east and west elevations. The west elevation does not have a public entrance, however, it is not directed to the street, limiting the allowable graphic area. Therefore, the applicant is requesting a variance to increase the graphic area of a wall sign on an elevation with a public entrance, not directed to a public street, from 27 square feet to 39 square feet. The planning division is supportive of the request. From the citywide policies state that wall signs should not obscure or interfere with architectural lines and details and should be sized to fit with the building's facade. Therefore, planning supports the request. And Division of Traffic has no comments. The 5th by Northwest Area Commission recommends approval. City staff can recommend approval as the sign location will be directed to a large shared parking lot shared by multiple businesses and is therefore supported. Mr. Chairman.
Okay, can you please state your name for the record?
Alyssa Sherry.
And is there any additional testimony you'd like to speak to about this application?
I see here on the slide that it says, does it say 39? I'm sorry, I can't see that, but it doesn't look like it's correct.
Sign B for the square feet,
Yeah,
looks like 38 with some.
The proposed square footage would be 39.56, if that
Gotcha.
makes any difference.
Might have been an outdated
Okay,
graphic.
we're just proposing that the square footage is increase, just because Bank of America with their logo is pretty lengthy and,
Oh, yeah, it does say
just
40.
making sure that we see it, so. That's all.
Is that,
Yeah, so on the agenda, it does say from 28 to 40 square feet, we rounded up, and that's what the agenda went out published as and notices, so it's legitimate.
so it's consistent, there's no change on the application needed?
The drawing is outdated, but the application is listed correctly at 40 square feet.
Just a square foot difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was looking here, but it says 40.
So for all intents and purposes, the image is still accurate.
Can you speak a little bit about the hardship that this site has, reason for your variance?
So the hardship is that the current allowed approval, for a wall sign would be 27 square feet. And it has a public entrance, but it's not to a street, it's on a parking lot side. So we're just asking to, instead of shrinking that, it would be not very legible if we were to keep it to the allowed square footage. So the hardship is to increase the square footage so it's more legible. We originally asked for a higher amount, kind of like met more in the middle with our client in the neighborhood meeting, Fifth by Northwest. We were asking for a higher, but we had agreed upon coming down to the 39.56 or 40 square feet. So the hardship is just, it's not as legible. The returns are colored with white faces that have colored LEDs. So if you keep it smaller, it's going to be less legible. When
The one on the top of the one exhibit that's got big X's is the one that you first proposed?
Yeah. There's two elevations. So that was the east elevation that we had proposed. That was already approved.
Okay, is there anyone else that would like to speak to this case in the audience?
So how many signs are there?
Nope.
Just one on each elevation?
Yeah, one on the east and one on the west.
That's it?
Yeah, that's it.
Can I have a motion to adopt finding of facts?
I'd be glad to offer a motion to adopt the finding of facts as presented by the client and also by the city staff for the hardship presented.
Second.
Who seconded?
Okay, we can vote on adopting the finding of fact.
Mr. Rumbaugh,
Yes.
Mr. Cavalaris,
Yes.
Mr. Hoy,
Yes.
Chair Cooperman,
Yes, and now we can vote, or have a motion to vote on approving the application. Anyone?
I'll make a motion to approve application GC 23-19.
I would second that.
Okay, we can vote on it.
Mr. Cavalaris,
Yes.
Mr. Hoy,
Yes.
Mr. Rumbaugh,
Yes.
Chair Cooperman,
Yes, and your application is approved. Thank you.
Thank you.
And our final case, application number GC 23-020-2233 Morse Road. Mr. Smedley.
GC 23-020-020, yeah, for 2233 Morse Road. It's located on the south side of Morse Road, approximately 580 feet east of Walford Street. It's zone C4, and it's located in Northland Community Council. The 0.69 acre site is currently developed with an auto maintenance shop. Surround uses are primarily commercial with multi-unit residential further to the south. The applicant proposes to bring an existing wall sign into compliance and is requesting a variance to allow a wall sign to be located on a facade that does not have a public entrance. Should note that this application will resolve a graphic code violation. Planning supports that the requests to legitimize the existing wall sign. Northland area plan recommends signs be placed in size such that they are in keeping with the scale and size of the building facade and general streetscape and do not obscure or interfere with architectural lines and details. The sign is consistent with these recommendations. The Division of Traffic Management has no comments. The Northland Community Council recommends approval of the requested variance with the condition that in keeping with the intent of 3377.24 A and D, only one additional permanent wall sign may be displayed on either the front, west, or rear east elevation on the building and shall not exceed 16 square feet in area. Staff can recommend approval as the existing location of the sign is logical as it faces the right of way and the primary entrance is easy to locate. Staff notes that this code section will soon be updated to allow signs directed towards public right of ways, regardless of whether there's a public entrance or not.
How do we know that? Part of the whole change that.
Yeah, that was one of the things that Shannon mentioned during last month's meeting.
Oh, that was the specific, yeah, okay. Makes sense. Maybe you could have just waited and not, wasted time.
Well, staff wasn't made aware of that.
Yeah.
Like that. That's what's
Um,
fine.
Do you want to, please state your name for the record?
My name is Matthew Boyley.
Please present your case.
Basically, what Mr. Smedley stated, we have a wall sign that's facing the street. Our entrance is facing the west side. And we would be in compliance, we would have to actually move the door or adopt the sign as it is. And this is an illustration and get a previous picture up as to what the sign actually looks like if it is installed.
So you got a zoning violator or some kind of violation order? What caused you to correct this?
Yes,
How long has that been outstanding for?
I got the violation in May.
What's that?
Is it May? That's fast.
Yeah. Is there, you explain in your hardship here, you like crossed out, looks like you started, crossed out and updated it. Want to explain your hardship?
The violation basically is because they don't have an entry door on the same side that the sign is on, that it becomes a violation per the code. As you
Yeah,
see.
that faces the
Yeah, the,
main drive or whatever.
right, the main street.
That is a much needed code update. Why is it objectionable if it's facing the right of way, like not the main street? Doesn't,
Philosophically,
yeah.
well,
Good point.
because, if you didn't have that code section, you could have a sign on any elevation. The idea is to get people in the front door.
Help locate the door.
To locate the front door, but after several variances, we realized that we're approving left and right, and that's no longer a valid code set.
Got it.
And that's a code change coming up.
Like the next, year.
That's what our chief zoning official presented last month.
Yeah. Are you agreeable to the conditions requested by city staff?
Yeah, I am.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak to this case? I believe there is. Please come forward. Oh, you got your leg, yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
You have not been sworn in? You swear or affirm that you'll tell the truth in this matter to the best of your belief and knowledge, and so say I do.
Great, can you please state your name for the record for Tony?
William Logan, co-chair of Northland Community Council's Development Committee.
Great,
Steve did a fine job of basically iterating our one condition so that we feel the current applicant will abide. We just wanted to make sure that next, we're sure he'll stay there for some long time, but this is an auto repair facility. And we wanted to protect the community in the future to limit someone else's tendency to come and say, well, wait a minute, this is my entrance. Now I get to put a big sign on it.
understood.
I have a question. Did I hear it that the condition of the area commission was 16 square feet?
Correct. That's right out of the code.
Okay, but that's not what we have here, right?
No, that's, you'd be allowed 16 square feet on a different facade than the main entrance. So they're just taking that from the code. So if this sign was on the other elevation with the main entrance, it would be allowed 16 square feet
Okay.
on this side by right.
Well, they'd be allowed larger than that, because the code says, you know, by right, you're allowed a sign on an elevation which has a public entrance. But then you measure the distance from that public entrance elevation to the lot line, and it gives you basically a mass factor of 1. So you calculate the whole elevation, including where the garage bays are. Take the square root of that, then multiply it by 1 and mass the allowed square footage. However, if they did do that, put a sign on that elevation, which I believe is the west elevation, the north elevation where the sign is, that would be only allowed to be 16 square feet. Then to go even deeper, if they didn't have a ground sign, they could wrap any excess elevation from the west to the north. But since they have a ground sign, the maximum elevation on that north elevation where the sign is limited to 16 square feet. So it's correct, but reversed. So I believe Northland is saying, well, if they were only allowed 16 on the one and all the mass factor on the west, they want to flip it. So 16 would then be the max.
Yeah.
Even though they'd be allowed a lot more based on that elevation of that building.
On the front, yeah.
Yeah, so they're highly limited.
Next potential applicant, we request they move before from west elevation, north elevation. You know.
I got it. Makes complete sense. And you're okay with that condition as amending the application? Okay. Great. Can I have a motion from somebody to adopt the finding of fact?
I'll present a motion to adopt the finding of facts as presented by city staff and the applicant.
Second, anyone?
I'll second that.
Okay, we can vote on adopting the finding of the fact.
Mr. Hoy,
Yes.
Mr. Rumbaugh,
Yes.
Mr. Cavaliers,
Yes.
Chair Cooperman.
Yes, and now we can vote to approve the application as amended with the condition. I need a motion, I guess.
Motion to approve, application EC 23020.
With the conditions.
Oh, with the conditions presented.
I will second that.
Okay, we can vote, please.
Mr. Rumbaugh,
Yes.
Mr. Cavaliers,
Yes.
Mr. Hoy,
Yes.
Chair Cooperman.
Yes, your application is approved. Thank you.
Congratulations.
And that's it.
Right.
Motion to adjourn. How many other situations you guys have